Hey, Leo, Mel, Intuitive Coach here, excited to bring in your July 2025 love and family reading. If you are interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, Leo, what do we have in store for you this month? And happy birthday to those of you sun sign Leos out there. Bottom of the deck, you have the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands can be an energy here of adapting. You may have settled into a situation where at times you may feel like you're walking on eggshells around the people that are supposed to support you. But I feel like you are breaking out of that conditioning. You're breaking out of some sort of imprisonment is what I feel here with the Seven of Wands. This is about you defending yourself, standing up for your beliefs. It is about you meeting a challenge and giving it a wink, living life on your own terms here. And Leo, I feel like some of you may have been a little bit closed off here because there may have been pressure that you felt, like a buildup of pressure around you, or you had to protect your peace at all cost here. But it does feel like you've been going through something that's been possibly a little bit challenging. Okay, it could be a bit challenging here because you see this Arctic fox, he is making his way through this blizzard, and you see that it's not always easy, but he has that resiliency. He has been born for this in a way. So I feel like the challenges and lessons that you have gone through in the past, it was part of your divine blueprint. It was part of your evolution here. But it feels like you're coming up to this clearing, if you will, where the blizzard, the storm no longer has to be your story. Leo, you are coming to a space that feels like fresh air, like spring air here. Instead of the cold and tundra here of this winter, it feels like you're waking up to the spring flowers. Something new is growing here. You are moving into a new cycle, a new season of your life where you don't have to just survive. You don't have to be in this energy of defense or your guard up. You can come into this new season with boundaries and also, playfulness. It feels like you can have a blend or a balance of both. So let's dive in here and see what is playing out for you. And I do have a certain section for those of you that are single and those of you that may be in a partnership, so stay tuned, but we're going to look at the overall energy and vibe. So the main theme for the month, you have the teddy bear here, Leo. This is beautiful. Some of you may be gifted. I mean, no surprise if you have a birthday in the month of July. I mean, even August, you will be gifted here in some way, some nature, some form. You're going to possibly put yourself out there, and you may be seen, you may be recognized by, family members, by a partnership. And I do see for those of you that are single, maybe you've been walking this journey on your own for quite some time. It does feel like there is something new emerging here. And I see that someone could even be interested in you. Now, first of all here, for some of you, you may not be interested, or perhaps you don't have time, or it feels like your focus has been elsewhere with this Seven of Wands, because you can see that fox, he's blending into the environment and he can't barely see 5 feet in front of him because of that blizzard. But it feels like there's someone outside of your energy here that may have their eyes on you. So take that as it resonates here. I'm getting the name Joshua or Josh. I mean, maybe some of you live near like Joshua Tree, or the name resonates in some way. I'm also getting Jeep. So perhaps someone drives a Jeep, or, maybe a Jeep is your sign that there's going to be a new beginning. Yellow or blue, maybe this is a yellow or a blue Jeep. Okay, no, very specific, take it as it resonates. But this says blooming romance. Someone is interested in you, flirting, someone wants to date. And for those of you that are in a relationship, I feel like there is, the date here, wanting to date. It could be a special date on the calendar, such as a birthday here. But I feel like you may be doing something fun, right? Maybe you're going out to eat. Some of you are enjoying mini golfing, or, adding a splash of fun and playfulness into your world. Instead of it just being another day, another birthday, there's something here about this month being significant. And I also feel like the 8-8 portal is big. So maybe some of you have a birthday on 8-8, even though this is a July reading. I feel like you have something really beautiful blossoming. It could even be a new friendship here. You could be spending time with your loved ones. I see for some of you, grandchildren. You may have a child or a grandchild that has a favorite bear, a favorite lovey, and it just feels like you are really soaking up all of the beautiful family vibes here. But there's a shift, there's a change for the better coming in for you. I feel like you're definitely coming out of that like fight or flight or survival mode. So you're waking up to, well, for one, the springtime energy, but grounding, because this is part of the shadow, part of the challenge here is to get grounded, to stay grounded here, because you may have been feeling a little bit airy fairy. Some of you head in the clouds, or there may have been some struggles where you weren't able to see too far beyond. Just like this Arctic fox can't see in front of them, not with that blizzard, swirling around here. So for some of you, you weren't sure where you stood, or you weren't opening up to love, or you didn't feel like love was opening up to you despite you putting in the effort and putting in the work. This is about growth and endurance. And even though it has been a struggle, because you've been going through a lot of growth spurts, and they can be uncomfortable, right? Remember back to when you were a child and, you went through those growth spurts, and one summer you completely grew 5 feet tall and you were wearing floods the next year, right? It feels like you've gone through something where now it's time to change, right? Now it's time to change out of the old archetype, the old roles, the old systems here in some way, because you are being asked to refresh, like hit that refresh button. You no longer have to wear the winter coat. Now you can, get into something that feels more comfortable, more like you're able to breathe more, something that's aligned with this springtime energy versus that ginormous snowmobile suit that you had on protecting you in some way. And that's symbolic, of course, but I feel like it's been difficult creating that sense of safety and security and stability. Maybe that root chakra, you've done a lot of inner child work as well, and it's been challenging, yes, but Spirit is saying here, be mindful of seductions or the devil. Okay, this is the devil energy here. Now remember, devil spelled backwards is lived. We are allowed to live life, which means enjoying life's pleasures, which can be seductive. It can be things that are tempting, right? It can be attractions here. It can be that spark of something that feels a little bit taboo, but you want more. It feels like you want that spark, right? You want that temptation, but you also don't want surface level. And that's what you are being cautioned against here, because that's what you've had in the past. Maybe there was third-party energy. Perhaps there were temptations with that devil, addictions, obsessions, bondage, manipulation, even codependent dynamics that have kept you or held you back in some way. I don't want to say held you back. It was part of your growth, but that may have been the growth spurt that you've gone through here. And so again, you're being cautioned here to be mindful of that devil, showing up, because you want something deeper. I feel like you want something more meaningful. So don't let the temptations draw you in for an instant gratification or like a quick fix, because I do see here, you don't want to be hurt, but at the same time, you want something new. It feels like you're trying to find that balance, that fine line here. And I see that someone does have their eye on you, but perhaps the energy that I'm seeing that's on the outside here of your auric field, it feels like they're trying to knock or come on in, but I don't know if they're fully available. Maybe emotionally they're not available, or they're in another relationship. It feels like there's someone here that, it almost feels like a Romeo and Juliet vibe, where it just feels like star-crossed lovers in some way. So just be mindful, because it feels like if you want deeper, then you may be tempted here in some way, but you may have to step into your belief systems. You may have to really look at your values and see if this is something that's just a temptation here, if it's just surface level, or if this is something real that has the potential to grow. So your main energy, the current energy in love, is the Wheel of Fortune. You're trying to go with the flow of things here, but I see that change is ushering in. This is a destined event or a turning point that is meant to be. Some of you are going through a bit of a karmic loop, maybe a karmic relationship here to kind of re-examine what you've learned in the past. It feels like, in a way, like a test. You're being tested with that seduction here. There may be an old story that is playing out. It could be a relationship that's tempting, or it could even be like a pattern that you are meant to break out of if you want something deeper. That's what I get here. So there's going to be a choice. Now, this fated event, though, is coming up regardless. But in the face of this, I feel like it will change everything. And so you are being asked to trust your intuition, get honest with yourself. If you want to play in the devil's playground, you certainly can. But there may be some wounds that leave you feeling less than grounded, because that's the challenge here, right? Stability, safety, security. And it feels like you've worked so hard to create that for yourself. So I do see that there is change ushering in for you with this Wheel of Fortune that's going to renew you in some way. And I actually feel like this is a really beautiful time for this to occur, right? Whatever this event is that kind of puts you at this crossroads here, it is for your highest good. So don't fear it. All right, don't fear it. Now, this seduction or this temptation, it doesn't have to be negative. It can be you feeling saucy, right? Feeling a little bit spicy with your energy, getting yourself out there, flirting, maybe playing around with energies, not in a way where it's a cat and mouse type of play, right? But just playing with the energy here of flirting, like dipping your toes in the water, or maybe spicing things up in your own relationship here. Maybe this is in the bedroom. Maybe this is the romantic candlelit dinner. And some of you are like, Mel, I'm too old for that. Or Mel, we've been together for 20 years. We don't do that stuff. But I do see here that you're being asked to flirt with life, right? That's that playful energy that I'm getting. Flirt with life. Leo, I feel like this isn't the first time I've said that for you. And that's what's coming in here, because life is flirting with you here. And so I definitely see that you are moving in a direction that does feel more lighthearted, more playful. So what does your heart truly want? The Page of Cups. Oh, you want love, right? You want to create something beautiful. Your imagination is soaring to new heights. To me, our imagination is our intuition here. If you can imagine it, it's part of your intuitive calling here. Go towards your curiosities, live out some of those fantasies that you have in a safe way, of course, trustworthy way. But I see that some of you want to paint a picture of what love is. And sometimes that can become, illusionary, but I feel like you are finding the balance between reality and wishful thinking, right? If that makes sense. It feels like you are opening yourself up to love, because the Page of Cups is a new emotional situation here. That's what your heart truly wants, is playfulness, something new. You want to be vulnerable here. And vulnerability, I'll tell you, with that Page of Cups is a must. So if you have built some walls, or if you've been hurt, now's the time to tear those babies down. You can still move forward with your sword. You can still set healthy boundaries, create fences with paths, right? With doorways that can open up, but not walls, because walls, completely keep people out, including you. You can be confined into that wall, that imprisonment. And I see here that you want to open up to love. A lot of you are imagining what this may feel like, what this may look like. So you're in a good spot here. I feel like, Leo, you are in a good spot to let your imagination soar, and then taking the necessary action steps for this energy to come alive, right? This is you flirting with love here. And it's very playful. It is about you starting something new, starting something fresh. Now, what is the block? What is the challenge, the sabotage, the strength? Okay, compassion. Oh, some of you are giving love to alligators here, crocodiles, and maybe that excuse me, maybe that comes back and bites you in some way. Now, Leo, you are the strength energy here. This is your major arcana. So I feel like a lot of you have so much love to give, even if it feels like that the energy of where or whom you are giving love to feels like it can be tough. It can be tough love here, because perhaps someone has a lot of wounds. Someone may have a scary persona in a way, right? Where you are just trying to give love to this energy. And I feel like sometimes there's doubt. Sometimes we doubt ourselves. Sometimes we can get in that fight or flight. But I feel like this also has to do with nurturing and loving your own self, your own flaws. Now, in the past, you may have given love to people who didn't really know how to give it back in return, just like the alligator here or crocodile. He's not a cuddly pet. He isn't someone that, or, he isn't a pet that you would take home and, a cuddle in your bed. This is a swamp creature. And some of you may have dated some swamp creatures here, or you may have felt like something kind of bit you. They're really highlighting the teeth here, the teeth. So maybe the throat chakra, maybe someone has a smile, maybe something with the teeth here is highlighted. But I feel like you are being cautious to the point sometimes of like fight or flight. Like, I'm just gonna fight for something that may be unhealthy, or I am going to flight. I'm going to just check out, or I'm going to fawn. I am going to people please. I'm going to overgive of my energy to the point where, I'm going to get bit back in return, because it just feels like I can't find that balance here. But Spirit is reminding you to stay compassionate with yourself, to love all of you, even the parts of you that want to heal others. And sometimes we feel like we take on the responsibilities of fixing others. Just like this girl hugging the croc, she loves it. She sees the good. She sees it all. And that may be something at times that you struggle with, Leo, is you see the good in others and you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, your heart may have been broken a time or two, because there may have been a level of, I don't want to say naivety. It's not that you're naive, but it's that you have a beautiful heart and you have a lot of love to give, especially when it feels like people really need it. And Spirit is saying you can have this compassion for others, but it's important not to sacrifice your own self at the cost of, the love that you give. Now, let's take a look at how love is trying to show up for you. All right, well, we have the King of Swords. So some of you are embracing intellectual curiosity. This is belief system as well. Yeah, I feel like some of you thinking your way through love. Or you may have some strong air placements, or maybe you are connected to an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But I feel like this is power, right? This can even be control, like control of the mind. I feel like love is trying to show up for you, and you are being asked to release any limitations, limiting beliefs, or stories that no longer serve you. Open up to that Page of Cups energy, the beginner's mind, because sometimes the King of Swords can be rigid. Sometimes he can be rigid. He can lack empathy. He can even, when he's in his highlight, when he is in his glory, when he is in the positive aspect of the King of Swords, he's the king of communication. So love is trying to show up as an opportunity to communicate. This is potentially through a person. It could be with a King of Swords. Communication is key. And I feel like it's important to share with someone how you feel. Or if you are getting to know someone for the first time, ask questions. Embrace intellectual curiosity. Keep an open mind, but you also have a brilliant mind at the same time. So you are able to use your own discernment, step into your own personal power here, and allow your heart to lead, but use your mind to not fall into any of the devil's traps here. Okay, so I definitely see love wants to show up for you, but try not to let rigidity or the wounds, the weaknesses, if you will, of the strength here, get in your way of love, because it's trying to knock on your door here, and it could be in the form of a King of Swords. So being able to communicate. Some of you are meeting people online. There's an online connection here. King of Swords can be technology. So if you are single, which we're going to roll into next here, for those of you that are single, what do you need to know about attracting love? Well, you have something that is wanting to grow. All right, you've planted some seeds here, or you've kind of blown out those seeds of your wish flower, and you're starting to see something take root. And I feel like it's important to nurture it, water it through healthy communication, through, compassion and understanding, and allowing that heart to lead you both, but not so quickly that we don't learn about each other, that we don't grow, we don't ask some of the deeper questions of beliefs and of values, of traditions, of importance, because sometimes we fall, right? We fall into that seduction trap, and that can become surface level when we don't talk, when we don't get to know each other again. And for those of you who really want to build something deeper, embrace that mind. Get the mind going, because some of you, the mind is what stimulates you. The mind is sexy here. So when that seduction card shows up, if you want to drop into this energy here, stimulate the mind, or maybe that's something you want, right? You want someone to stimulate your mind. I am also getting humor. It feels like humor is a huge flirtatious energy. Someone may be getting your attention through humor, or even through like jokes. Maybe this is like bad dad jokes here, or it could be like a comedy show. Someone could have like a funny or smirky like smile or a toothy grin of some sort. But for those of you that are single, now is the perfect time to put yourself out there, reach out to others. Don't be afraid to take that first step, because it feels like you have the potential to grow something beautiful, honest, and trustworthy with that King of Swords energy here. But don't fall into any sort of seduction trap with that Page of Cups, right? Use the mind to help you navigate the heart. And for those of you that are in a commitment, for those of you that are married, because we have the Hierophant here, the Wisdom Keeper, I feel like you are being asked to invite more play into your life. Perhaps there's some old outdated beliefs or an old story that keeps playing out over and over. You may have been with someone for quite some time, And you may want that spark here, or perhaps there's been temptation here outside of this union. Maybe there's even been third party. It doesn't mean cheating. It could be family dynamics, like a mother or a father, or maybe a child that's not biologically someone else's. It feels like there's been something here that has tempted you at times to maybe throw in the towel. But I do see here that you are going to make a choice that is stable for you, but also you're not going to compromise your freedom. And it's interesting because Cancer also had this message. Some of you may be on that Cancerian cusp, or Cancer season is going to be significant here, which we are rolling into at the time of this reading. And it's going to play out for you the majority of July before we hit Leo season here. So I definitely see that you are really taking a look at your values, your traditions, your belief systems, and everything that you've gone through, possibly with this individual. It looks like there is a fated event or some form of change that is coming into your relationship dynamic. You could also be taking care of someone here that isn't able to necessarily take care of themselves. Maybe this is a parent. Some of you may have a child with special needs, or you may be having to set some boundaries here in some way for yourself, for your own nurturing. But it just feels like there's going to be a shift coming in and a choice that is made either by you or maybe it's externally, but I do feel like it changes everything. And I would say here it shifts things for the better. Okay, it does shift things for the better. So what is the outcome? You have the Two of Swords. If you feel like you didn't have enough information here, or if you felt like you were at a crossroads, maybe even paralyzed by a decision here, this is about cutting through, taking that sword energy, King of Swords that you have here, trying to show up. And this is about you cutting through the fluff and saying, okay, this is what I want. This is what's available here. This is what I'm accepting. This is what needs to shift. And that's why that Wheel of Fortune is coming in, because there's been some resistance. And when that wheel gets stuck, right, it feels like we are spinning our tires. Maybe that's that Jeep energy. Did I mention that for you, the Jeep? Yeah, it feels like someone's been spinning their tires. Maybe someone needs new tires or is working on a vehicle, like replacing the wheel bearings, or there could be like mud tires. I take that as it resonates. I keep getting the tires here. Now, Two of Swords as your outcome also is about the head and the heart. It feels like the head and the heart are finally getting together here in some way where they're both on the same page, because there's been a heart pull and a head pull, and those two have been going in opposite directions in some way. And it's going to take strength, and it's going to take courage to be vulnerable, to open up that heart and say, okay, what do I really want here? But what is the mind trying to help me through? Because sometimes the mind comes in and throws up the walls of protection, right? Self-protective barriers. And I see here that you're letting yourself open up to love, letting yourself open up to love in whatever shape or form that shows up for you. King of Swords energy. You may even be healing from a divine masculine wound or a father dynamic here, or just releasing control in some way so that can empower you. Because sometimes we hang on to control with such rigidity that it squeezes the life out of, relationship dynamics. Maybe there was someone very controlling, very overbearing, overpowering here in your world. And I feel like you have the ability here to make a choice that can lead to a new beginning. All right, let's get a message from the wisdom of the Oracle. What do we have here for you, Leo? What do we have for Leo? To the sea. Some of you may be traveling. Some of you are spending time near, in, or by the water. And I'm also getting emotions. Remember that Cancerian energy that I had mentioned earlier? A lot of you are really feeling the need to reflect and go within. Cancer energy is about the home. It's about, our relationship dynamics, as well as, what emotional stability looks like for us. And so I see you doing a lot of reflecting, maybe a lot of baths or showers. This could be like hot tub time, swimming. Maybe you're spending time in July near a body of water. But I definitely see you are looking at things from a new perspective. You see that on the ship here, on the boat that she's in, she actually has the binoculars there that can help her see things from, that maybe at a distance. She can bring those things closer to her. And that's what you're doing this month. I feel, Leo, you are taking a look at things from a clear advantage point. And you have your true north. There's a compass at the front of her boat. You're leaning into your soul self, your soul's north, your truth here. And I feel like the heart is leading. The emotions are telling you, what you need to kind of pay attention to, but the mind also is navigating. So yeah, everything is kind of coming together in a way that feels very, very profound for you. So let's get a message from the crystal spirits. What do the crystals want you to know at this time? So at this time, if you can safely do so, Leo, please close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in from your solar plexus chakra, your belly area. Hold the breath for the count of 3, 2, 1, and release through the mouth with a nice deep sigh. And with your eyes still closed, tune into your third eye chakra, the area between your eyebrows and your forehead region. And I want you to imagine the first crystal or gemstone that shows up in your mind's eye. Now this could be a crystal that you are familiar with, maybe even know the name of. Your crystal could show up as a specific shape, size, or color. Your gemstone or crystal could be giving off frequencies of unconditional love, confidence, balance, or healing. And if you need a moment, just pause the video and come back when you are ready. And for those of you that would like to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway, all you need to do is drop your crystal or gemstone in the comment section below the video. Whether it is the name, the shape, the size, the color, whatever was showing up in your mind's eye, drop it below. I will enter you into that giveaway where I draw one winner around the first of the month and post right back here on the community tab. All right, Leo, you have a very transformational crystal today. You have Mulivite. Now, this energy is profound. If you've ever worked with Mulivite, you know that it is a game changer. Buckle up. It's like a roller coaster ride here. This is rebirth through fire, initiation, and opening to new experiences, revitalization, and renewal. Massive transformation. That's that Wheel of Fortune as well. As you transition to a new you, you will become part of a new group of people, for you are having new experiences that differ from those that came before. Old friends will be there for you, but new ones will appear, drawn to your vibration, which resonates with theirs. Although you are being initiated into a new experience, you will not be alone. Leave your fears at the door. Your community will find you, and you will know that you belong as they embrace you as one of their own. You will feel the love as you adjust to your new role, confident in the potential of those you care about coming along with you. Encourage them to believe that they too can let go of the past and transition into something better. Wow. And that kind of goes with that strength energy here, because some of you want to take these people with you, right? You want them to elevate their energy. And sometimes it's difficult to hang on to that notion or that idea. And when Mulivite comes in, It is actually a green tektite thought to have been formed when a meteorite crashed into the Czech Republic almost for over 14 million years ago. It is a crystal heralding massive transformation on all levels. This is not a stone to play with or take lightly, and it's definitely not recommended for those unwilling to step out of their comfort zone. Once we engage with Mulivite, we need to buckle up because things are going to get interesting. So for those of you that are embracing this wheel, right, this is change. And I feel like it is coming at the perfect time because this next trip around the sun is going to be wild for you. It's going to be playful. Yes, there will be temptations. There will be pulls. There will be lessons. But I feel like there will be bigger rewards in love than you ever thought possible. And so let's get a final message for your soul's truth. What do you need to know, Leo? How can I be more kind to myself? There's the strength here. There's the compassion. How can I be more kind to myself and offer more grace in this very moment? Growing our self-love is medicine to this world's broken heart. When you heal, we all heal. When you give yourself more grace, you are able to give the world more grace. Today's soul action, look at yourself with a grace filter. You are meant to be in this moment of your life. Release the inner critic and fill in that hole with your soul's truth, that you are infinite, you are loved, and you are already there. Beautiful energy. Leo, if you enjoyed today's reading, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, comment your crystals below. Thank you again so much for tuning in today. Lots of love.